Hi! Now that you have a start on generating keywords, it's time to start searching for specific sources using Discovery Service, which is a collection of article databases, the SSU catalog, and more. First, go to the library's homepage and the Discovery Service search box. You probably want to start with your main concepts of your research question first. If our research question is what policies could a federal government implement that would help reduce climate change, the main concepts would be federal government, policies, climate change. Now I'll start typing. Normally you'd have to type everything out, but it remembers that I've practiced. So right there we have federal government, policies, and climate change. Now these are starting out as keywords, which will look for the terms anywhere as a main part of the item's record. The quotation marks around climate change tell the database to search for those two words together in that order, so not just climate and change, but climate change. It may work fine to not have the quotation marks, but it can be helpful to start with them. So then we'll click Search. Now, if I am off campus, I'm going to have to log in to the library resources. I would do that by using my network username and network password and click Login. If you are on campus, it's going to go directly to this page. Now here are the results. Notice we have a ton. Now we can narrow this down, which we'll work on in a second. But notice the type of sources we get. Academic journal articles, government documents, down here you'll see periodicals, and sometimes more. Now, one way to limit is by publication date. Often you'll want recent articles to get the latest research, especially if it's science related. So over on the left side of the page, you'll see a Limit To section and the publication date figure. I'll type 2015 in the first box and 2020 in the second. And the 2020 is since I'm recording this in 2020. Now you can use this little slide option right here, but I find that it's very sensitive. So I just type 2015. And I'll click Enter or remove my cursor from that block. And this will be the list of resources that comes up. And everything that comes back will be published in the last 5 years. Now another thing we can limit by is scholarly or peer-reviewed journal articles. Scholarly research articles are found in scholarly journals. They are written by scholars and then submitted to the editor of the scholarly journal. Then at least one expert member of the editorial board, often two, consider the article as to its quality and whether it meets the publication standards of the journal. For example, they'll look at whether it has sufficient references or if the research study appears to be well constructed. They can determine that an article doesn't meet the standards and decline to publish it. They may send it back to the author and request clarifications or other improvements, and then the journal will publish it. So you can see it has a rigorous review process, and this goes beyond what typically is done in newspaper or non-scholarly journals. You can limit the result list to include just scholarly journal articles by clicking the box next to scholarly peer-reviewed journals. Now everything that comes back is from a peer-reviewed journal published in the last 5 years. Now one minor note is that editorials are sometimes included in a peer-reviewed journal. Those articles do not go through this rigorous review process, but these articles are identified with a word such as editorial. Now say we want to focus our result list or take a slightly different route. If you remember on the keyword development chart, I identified the Environmental Protection Agency as a narrower term. So I can take out federal government and type in Environmental Protection Agency and click Search. And you'll notice that the results now focus more on the Environmental Protection Agency. Now another place to find good keywords is within the subject terms. These are the identifiers here in which whomever created this record in the database identified that these specific terms are main elements of the article. You'll learn more about using subject terms in other ways, but for right now we'll simply use them to prompt keywords, such as public health in this instance, or down here, air pollution. So I'm going to come up here to our search string, and I'm going to add air pollution, and then click search, and see what comes up. So now right here you'll see a lot of things that have to do with air and air pollution. So finally, let's look at an individual item's record. And we'll select this top one here. What do economists have to say about the Clean Air Act 50 years after the establishment of the Environmental Protection Agency? And I would just click on the title. And right here you'll see the title of the article, the authors, and the publication information. Now most of the time you'll also see an abstract, which is a summary of the article. Reading this can be very helpful in telling you whether the full article is worth reading. Sometimes an article title looks like a winner, but then by reading the abstract you realize the article really isn't for you. So if you would like to read the full article, and the full text is available here, you'll notice PDF full text over here on the left hand side of the page, and you would just click PDF full text. If full text is available and you do not see PDF full text, you would click on the yellow Find It button to see if the library has access to it in another database. Now over on the right side of the page, you'll see the word Cite, and I will click on that. You'll see reference list or bibliography information for a number of different citation styles. Now students love the option of this cite function, but just be careful. Errors exist. Always double check your textbook or the citation manual for that style for citation accuracy. Now finally, I will exit out of here, and this is super important. If you want to get back to this page, do not copy and paste the address from the browser address bar to a Word document or an email thinking you can link to it in the future. Once you exit your searching session, that URL will no longer work. Instead, go down to where it says Permalink under Tools on the right hand side of the page, click Permalink, and this is the URL that you would use to get you always back to this page. So that's a basic introduction to searching in the Discovery Service. If you have questions, please contact a librarian. My contact information is available on this slide.